Hey guys, Chef Wukan here. How are you today? Today's Monday, and today's a scorcher. It's freaking hot outside. So I decided to conduct my lesson indoors in the privacy of my own kitchen. That's nice and cool. All right. So please excuse that. I know you might lose a little bit of the flair with the outdoors and whatever, but it was too freaking hot. And as you can see, I'm wearing just a regular t-shirt. So this is unusual for me. All right. I know I put a video on basil shrimp, Thai basil shrimp, but apparently my microphone, my cordless microphone, sort of went on a blink, and it didn't record the remainder of the video. So today I'm going to be recording again the same video, and I'll try to be as accurate as I can. All right. So today we'll be making Thai basil shrimp. Now, obviously, the basil that we want to use is Thai basil, but it's not readily available to everybody. And so what's available is regular basil. So I took a whole bunch of leaves that I got from Home Depot. Obviously, it's in water, so I'm rinsing it a little bit, and we'll be using regular basil. All right. The difference between the regular basil and the Thai basil is maybe the Thai basil is a little more aromatic than regular basil, but you know, for this class, I don't think you should worry about. All right, so let me just rinse it. Basically, I'm rinsing it just to get any kind of small particles out from dirt. All right, so just to double check. Now, the shrimp, right? This is interesting. Here's the shrimp. With prices going as high as they're going, especially with seafood, I would encourage you to buy shrimp in bulk. Obviously, you're going to get a block of shrimp, and it usually comes in a 4-pound box. All right? I paid $32 for the 4-pound box, which comes down to $8 a pound. Now, the size shrimp that I prefer is size 16-20. You may ask what that number means. Size 16-20 means about 16 to 20 shrimp that make 1 pound. Okay? Now, knowing that, the higher the number, the smaller the shrimp. So you may see 35 to 40, right? And then you may see 2 to 5. Size 35 to 40 means 35 to 40 shrimp that make up 1 pound. So they're probably really small. 2 to 5, right, size, they're huge. They're probably double this size. So just keep in mind that the higher the number, the smaller the shrimp. The smaller the number, the larger the shrimp. I find that size 16-20 is a nice size. All right? And sometimes you pay a little bit more when they devein it for you, deshell it for you. Why waste the time? Why spend more money? You could do it yourself. So I want to show you exactly how to devein the shrimp. Okay? So just bear with me a second. All right. So we're going to take the shrimp. This is with the shell on, obviously. And we see that the vein is on the underside of the shrimp. So let's peel it. So we just get a container and we'll peel the shrimp. You want to take off the little legs and the tail, and we'll set it aside. Now, depending on your family and whether they love shrimp or not, obviously they probably will, you figure around 4 shrimp to each person. So family for 4 is 16 shrimp. So 1 bag of size 16-20 shrimp is what you should buy. Now you'll see it in the store, retail, for like $17, $18. If it's on sale, let me go up to maybe $12. But I'm telling you, if you buy it in a bulk, 4-pound box, you only pay $8 a pound. So that would be like 40 cents a shrimp. Not bad, right? Save money. In our family, we love shrimp. Now, I'll explain to you how society kills the shrimp in terms of texture. Sometimes, we're a little bit overprotective of preventing infection or killing the bacteria. So we tend to cook everything well done. With shrimp, if you do that, it's going to be rubbery. But all restaurants do it just to protect themselves. When I finish cooking this Thai basil shrimp, you're going to appreciate a nice tender texture of shrimp. Okay, so the shrimp has been peeled. Okay, now we'll take a regular serrated knife. No, not serrated knife, a regular knife. All right, because it's a little bit more meticulous in terms of locating the vein and getting that vein out. It doesn't make a lot of sense with a huge cleaver. So we'll set the shrimp on the side. And we see that the vein is on the underside. It's usually on the hump, but this type shrimp is on the underside. So what we're going to do is we'll create a little cut. Right? Just a little cut. Doesn't have to be deep cut, just a little cut. And you'll be able to enjoy shrimp like you should. Those that are from the Midwest, that are pretty locked in from the ocean, you guys might feel that you're never going to have shrimp again. But obviously you had a bad experience with shrimp. So I want to bring that back to you. Shrimp is very sweet, and it's the most popular. And for shrimp, most of the time, it's farm raised, but everything in moderation is okay. If you have it every day, it might be a problem, but if you have it once in a while, it's all right. Okay, so we cut it. So now we'll open it and basically drag out the vein. It's a little tedious, but you know what? It's worth it. Save a couple of bucks. Why not? The problem with us today is that we don't want to get our hands dirty. We want everything all pre-cut, pre-sliced, pre-de-skinned. And the manufacturers know that, and they make extra money because they know that you don't want to do it. Why should we give the money to them? when we could spend the extra money on better quality ingredients. Now this is a very easy dish. You like basil? Other than having it on pasta in the sauce, other than having it with mozzarella, fresh mozzarella, olive oil, and tomato, basil in Chinese food is very popular. Asian food, Chinese, Vietnamese, Thai. If there's a spice or ingredient or condiment or an herb, we use it. Okay. So what we can do with the shell is we could save the shell, freeze it, and we can make a seafood broth. You would just add a little bit of fish sauce, soy sauce, and maybe sugar, and then you low simmer it so all the flavor from the shell comes out. And that's another type of broth instead of chicken and beef. So we're going to save this. Okay, so we'll take the shrimp and we'll put it on the side. Okay? What we're going to do here is we're going to add a little onion. And we're going to add some garlic. Now, I buy the big jar of garlic, and it's already de-shelled already. But we want to smash it to release the flavor. In terms of number of pieces for garlic, if you're a garlic lover, as many as you want. Now I hold the cleaver flat, and I just let the weight of the cleaver with a little bit more pressure smash it. Push it. Smash it, 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 push it. Now, I don't have a garlic presser, but I know a lot of people do. And I can't even imagine putting the clove of garlic in the presser and pressing it so hard just to get it through those holes. I find that this is easier and it's more efficient. So you just pick it up with your cleaver, blade, set it aside. Okay. So we have the shrimp, we have the basil, we have a little onion, okay, we have the garlic. Now, I like to use fresh ginger, but many people will buy a piece of ginger, they'll just use it for that meal, and then they'll stick it back in the refrigerator, and then somehow in a week's time it starts to shrivel up and it's all dry. So I want to show you what I do here. So I'll buy the ginger in bulk. I'll cut it up in pieces, and then I'll stick it in a container, and I'll add Shaoxing wine. So it's soaking in the Shaoxing wine. And if you don't have Shaoxing wine, just a regular white wine will do. And that will preserve your ginger for a very long period of time. So whether you start using ginger again in a month, it will still be just as fresh. Now you may ask, well, is it going to absorb the flavor? It's going to absorb a little bit of the flavor, the Shaoxing wine or any kind of wine that you use, but it's better than throwing it out. So we'll take a small piece. I love ginger. It has the skin on. I'll take a potato peeler and I'll peel it. What's that side? Now we'll cut it in slices. Now you could hold it this way, but it's already flat, so we'll leave it lay it down like this. And then we'll put our fingers on top, and we'll take the knife and we'll cut it horizontally. Okay? Now you have to be careful, because you don't want to cut your fingers. But this would be the most stable way of doing it, rather than cutting it this way. Alright? So we cut it. Now we'll cut it in sticks. Now we'll lean the knife away from our fingers. We'll lean the blade against our knuckle, and we'll use the knuckle and our fingers as a guide. So we'll cut down and push forward. Cut down, push forward. Cut down, push forward. Cut down, push forward. Cut down, push forward. Okay. We'll do the same thing. Cut down, push forward, away from our fingers. Move the fingers back. Okay. And there we have our sliced ginger. Now look at the flavor combination that we have. Ginger, garlic, onion, basil, shrimp. The sauces, the flavoring agents, okay? We have brown sugar, about 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. We have fish sauce. Now fish sauce is a little bit different than soy sauce. It's still in the salty family, but fish sauce is a more pungent, salty flavor. Basically, it's not made from soybean, it's made from fish. And it's fermented fish. It's very aromatic, but very pungent. So, if you guys love Thai, you probably had some fish sauce, but they probably diluted it a lot. But if you can handle the pungent, it's a different flavor. It does add more flavor to the dish. It's different than soy sauce, right? I would recommend that. So, in any kind of cooking, especially Asian cooking, you have to have a sweet and a salt to complement each other. If you have a sweet and a salty, any dish you make is going to be perfect. Then we have Shaoxing wine. That just adds some additional flavor of sweetness. And we're going to add a dash of sesame oil. The Shaoxing wine is about 2 tablespoons also. So 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of fish sauce, 2 tablespoons of Shaoxing wine, and a dash of sesame oil. And this is the brand that I use for fish sauce. This is a very, very good quality fish sauce. Now you may say, do I have to spend that much? Well, you know, like they say, you get what you pay for. So you might find a bottle of fish sauce that's very cheap, but it may not be the flavor that you want. In my use of this fish sauce, I feel that the flavor is not overly strong, it's not overly pungent, it's just perfect, good combination in their processing. Alright, so now we have a little brown rice that's cooking to try to eat a little healthier. We have a portable rice cooker here. Alright, so now let's put things away and let's get into the cooking. Alright, so today we have a little wok. And so what we're going to do is, this is a calf one. This is pretty old, but it's been very good to me. And before we go on, cheers. Happy cooking. Drink lots of water. Okay? All right. So with any pan that you use, whether it's a wok, always heat the pan first. When you heat the pan first, then you add the oil. Then once you add the oil, then you can start adding the ingredients. This is going to be 1, 2, 3. The other ingredient is oyster sauce. So yes, they actually made oyster sauce with oyster extract. And the guy that made it, discovered it, his name was Mr. Lee. And his middle name was Gum, K-U-M, and Gay is K-E-E. Right? So Lee is his last name, family name is first, and Gum Gay is his Chinese name. And he has a multi-billion-dollar corporation creating all different types of sauces. So when he made oyster sauce, it was by accident. So he tried it, he liked the flavor. It's basically a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of salt, oyster extract, cornstarch obviously to make it thicker, and maybe a little molasses. And he felt, I think he hit a gold mine. And so what he did was he sold it to his local village. They loved it. They fell in love with it. Actually, they made tons of things with his new oyster sauce. Then word spread, and then other people wanted to buy it. Other countries wanted it. So he became a huge sensation from making oyster sauce. So today, it's comparable to ketchup in the United States with Heinz. So oyster sauce is the ketchup of the Far East. All right, it's that popular. Wherever you go, you'll always have some portion that's involving oyster sauce. All right. So let's get this thing going. All right. So the flame's on. We have our spatula, which I'll be getting a new spatula because when I'm using the propane grill outside, this spatula is kind of short, so I feel the heat coming from the sides of the propane. So I have to get a longer one because it gets too hot. So for this purposes, on the butane stove, it's fine. All right. So the water's slowly evaporating. So what we're going to do is, the preparation process took the longest. Essentially, when we do the stir frying, it's going to be 1, 2, 3. Add the oil, about 2 tablespoons. Let it heat up. We want the oil to infuse with the garlic and the ginger. Get a nice flavor combination by doing this. We want to stir fry the onions too. But we don't want the onions to overpower the basil. Now I'm using a smaller pan because it's my daughter and I will be eating it. Now if you guys were here, you could probably taste it and enjoy the aroma. Okay. You want the onions to be slightly translucent. You don't want it to be overly done. Okay. Now remember, try to remember, basil will be last. Why? It's a leafy vegetable. It cooks quicker. Alright, now we're going to add the shrimp. Now when is shrimp done? Once it starts turning orangey, then it's pretty much done. It doesn't take that much time. So because of that, we'll add in the brown sugar. We'll add the fish sauce. We'll add the Shaoxing wine. And sesame oil, we'll leave it separate. And we'll stir it. So remember, once it turns orangey, not overly orangey, but once the majority of the shrimp turns orangey, then you know it's done. Then we can take a piece and probably taste it. Now, you may want to add hot sauce. That's up to you. Just remember that what I show you is basic. Okay? You may want to add a couple of things. A little bit more sesame oil, a little bit more hot sauce maybe a little bit more ginger, maybe a lot more garlic. It's really up to you. I don't want you to put you in a structure, in a box that you have to follow this way, this is the way the ingredients are. This is, to me, what I feel comfortable with. Alright, well, obviously dealing with a butane stove is not always the best, but it's good enough. So the shrimp, so you try to flip over the shrimp. Try to do it evenly. This is part of stir fry. But remember, you don't want it to be overly done. So most of the shrimp is orangey now, right? We'll add the basil. We'll incorporate it into the shrimp. Allow the flavor of the basil to penetrate the sauce and the shrimp. It's very aromatic if you were here. And we'll add a little oyster sauce. And 2 tablespoons. Ran out a little butane. Okay, so I'll mix all the flavors together. I'm going to add a little bit of water because the sauce is going to be beautiful. Mesh it together. Okay. And then we'll add some cornstarch to thicken up the gravy. Let me tell you, the gravy is going to be wonderful. It's perfect. So now we'll dish it. Here you go. Thai basil shrimp. Looks delicious. It looks delicious and it smells yummy. So with all my videos, it's very important that I try it. And this is the best part. So I'll get a couple of pieces. So we'll get a little basil, little onion, shrimp, maybe another shrimp. Then we'll add some sauce, drizzle it over. Now, here it goes. Take the shrimp. Take a small piece. Get that flavor of the basil and the shrimp and the onion together. Drizzle a little of the sauce on the rice. There you go. Shrimp. Thai basil shrimp. So delicious, so simple, so fantastic. Now, if you like what you saw, and you'd like to know more about other recipes that I'll be putting together, please subscribe. By subscribing, you'll basically be notified of my next YouTube video. You'll be the first ones to know. And give me a thumbs up if you like my presentation. Obviously it's a little rough. I don't have a production crew. It's myself. But I do my best. I can. And summertime's here. Obviously the weather is showing it. And you'll be doing some barbecuing on the grill. And you may want some different condiments. And my condiments that I have is a crunchy garlic, chili oil relish, as well as a organic raw spicy honey. And you can apply that to anything, soups, anything that you love that you like spicy, you can apply it to that. It's delicious. And in the honey, you got a small piece of honeycomb. And this is raw, organic. This is not processed, all right? And that is on my Etsy site, chefwucancollection.etsy.com. And my regular website is chefwucan.com. And I'm a restaurant critic and blogger, and I should be going out pretty soon to visit some eating establishments, food trucks, whatever. And I want to give you my view of how the food's prepared, the service they provide, and obviously the ambiance and the professionalism involved. So I appreciate you visiting. Obviously this is a retake because I messed up the Thai shrimp, basil shrimp before. No audio. So this one I hope you'll see and appreciate and you'll like. So cheers to you and have a great week. All right? Stay cool.